ever get that itch for like a twisty-turny thriller, but you're like, ugh, I can't commit to a whole book right now? Well, you are so in the right place.
Definitely.
So today we are diving deep, deep, deep into The Housemaid, which is by Freida McFadden. And we are armed with the Amazon page, obviously, duh, and some seriously intrigued, I would say, reader reviews.
Oh, yeah.
And we even have a couple of those, like, highlighted passages that everyone's always buzzing about.
Yeah, the ones everyone's highlighting on their Kindle, dog-earing.
Right, exact.
Underlining, we got 'em.
So it's like we're piecing together this puzzle, right, to see if The Housemaid actually lives up to all the hype.
Yeah, think of us as like literary detectives in a way.
Yep.
But instead of a magnifying glass, we've got this podcast.
Yeah. And it all starts with Millie. She's our housemaid.
Okay.
But of course, she's got a mysterious past.
Of course. There's always got to be something.
Right. And she lands a job with, you guessed it, a wealthy family, the Winchesters.
Classic.
Classic thriller setup so far, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
But here's where it gets a little more interesting.
Okay.
So the description mentions that Millie ends up, like, trying on one of Nina Winchester's dresses.
Interesting.
There's a locked attic room.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Right? And then Nina, the description even says she has odd behavior. So what do you make of all these little, like, breadcrumbs, expert speaker?
Well, I mean, they're definitely doing their job because now I'm completely hooked.
Right.
But I think it's smart how each detail seems kind of, normal on its own. But together they build this atmosphere of what's really going on here.
Yeah.
Like, is Nina just a little quirky? Or is there something darker underneath?
I don't trust it.
And the fact that Millie's trying on her clothes, that's not nothing. Like, is she maybe a little obsessed with Nina? Does she want to be her? It's creepy.
Oh, for sure. And the readers are eating it up.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking bestseller lists, award winner.
Well, wow.
But more importantly than that even are the reviews. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this one reader who was talking about how they got, like, severe whiplash from all the twists and turns.
Oh, I love that.
And another one just flat out said, I could not put this book down.
Music to an author's ears.
Right.
That bad.
And it's interesting. A lot of the reviews, they keep comparing it to books like The Woman in the Window.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we're in psychological thriller territory then.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, you've got an unreliable narrator. You've got those twists that we were talking about.
Right, and that sense of not being able to trust anyone, which is what I love about that genre, to be honest.
It's like a guilty pleasure.
Totally.
Okay, so we've got the basic setup. We know what the readers are saying. You ready to, like, really go deeper?
Let's do it.
Because we've got those highlighted passages.
Oh, yeah. The good stuff.
The good stuff. So remember that creepy locked attic room that we talked about?
Uh-huh.
So one of these passages, it describes the very first time that Millie goes up there. And let me tell you, it is dripping with creepy vibes. Like, the reader described it as the atmosphere was heavy, almost like the room itself was watching her.
Oh, I hate that. See, that's the stuff that gets me. It's like, is it actually haunted or is Millie just projecting,
Right. Like, what's scarier, a ghost or your own mind?
Exactly.
And then there's this other passage that I thought was really interesting. It's this, like, super quick interaction between Millie and Andrew, the husband.
Right.
And it's so brief, but he seems to be, like, subtly warning her about something, almost like he's trying to protect her from Nina.
Ooh, juicy. See, that's what I'm talking about. Now the husband's involved.
Right. So now it's like, okay, is Nina actually dangerous? Or is Andrew trying to, like, manipulate Millie?
Right. Or is he just trying to protect her because he genuinely cares? We just don't know.
Ugh, so good. So we've got a creepy attic. We've got a potentially menacing wife. We've got a husband sending cryptic warnings. I mean, what more could you want from a thriller?
It's like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
In the best way possible.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, on top of all of that, we have to talk about Millie's, mysterious past.
Oh, yeah, right. We can't forget about that.
Because the book description, it doesn't give us a ton to go off of, but one of the highlighted passages, it mentions that she spent time in prison.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. That changes things. So it's not just like she's running from a broken heart or something. This is serious.
Right. Like, what did she do? And that's exactly what the book description plays on. It even says that, the Winchesters, they have no idea about any of this.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Talk about walking into a lion's den.
So to recap, okay. We've got Millie with a mysterious past, like seriously mysterious.
Potentially dangerous.
Exactly. We've got the Winchesters, who, let's be honest, they might not be who they seem.
Who are they?
And then just this overarching sense of something's not quite right here, you know?
Totally. It's like that feeling you go when you walk into a room and you know you're not alone, but you can't see anyone else there.
Ugh, yes. So creepy.
The best kind of creepy,
Right.
at least when it comes to books, right?
Exactly. It's like someone took all those classic thriller elements and just turned them up to 11. What stands out to you the most from all of this?
Honestly, it's how, even though we're seeing a lot of classic thriller tropes here, there's these subtle twists that make it feel fresh. Like the mysterious past thing. That's not exactly groundbreaking, right?
Right.
But then you add in that Millie's been to prison.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, okay, this isn't just some teenage drama. It immediately raises the stakes.
Totally.
And honestly, that's what has me hooked.
Yeah.
I need to know what landed her there.
It's the ultimate cliffhanger.
And it makes you wonder, like, what kind of person is she? Now, after going through something like that, has she changed? Is she reformed?
Ooh, good point.
Wow.
Because that could go either way, right?
Exactly. Is this a redemption story or a revenge story?
Ugh.
Possibility. See, now I really want to know what we're dealing with.
Right. And speaking of things I want to know, a lot of these reviewers keep using words like addictive and unputdownable when they're talking about this book.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I definitely got that sense from the passages you read.
Right. One person even said they, snuck chapters in their car during school pickup.
Okay, well, that's dedication. You know a book's got you when.
Right.
That's true commitment.
It's like, sorry, kids, mommy's got to find out what happens next in this fictional world.
Priorities. No, but seriously, when a book can grab you like that, that says a lot about how it's written.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's not just about having a great story. It's about how that story unfolds. The pacing, the suspense, knowing when to hold back and when to reveal just enough to keep you hooked.
It's like a recipe, right?
Yep.
Too much of one ingredient and the whole thing is ruined.
Exactly.
So, I was doing a little digging on Freida McFadden herself, because that's what I do.
Of course. Got to do your research.
And it turns out she's not just a best-selling author.
Oh. What else is she up to? She's also a practicing physician.
Get out. No way.
I'm serious. And not just any kind of doctor either. She specializes in brain injuries.
Oh, okay. Now that's interesting.
Right.
You got to wonder how that influences her writing,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a genre like this, where so much of it is about psychology and how people think.
Right. Like she understands what makes people tick, especially when it comes to things like trauma, fear, those darker impulses that we all have.
Yeah, and maybe that's why her characters feel so real, because it's not just about, oh, this person's crazy. It's like she understands the why behind it, like the actual science of it.
Totally. Which is kind of a terrifying thought when you think about it.
Well, in the best way possible, right?
Right, exactly. That's why we love these books.
Exactly.
So we've got this great plot, these super compelling characters, but there's another thing that the reviews keep mentioning, and that's her writing style.
Oh, yeah. What are they saying?
So many people are saying that her writing is just, super easy to read, like it just flows.
Oh, that's so important, though, especially with a thriller. You don't want anything to take you out of the story.
Right, like you don't want to be stuck on a sentence trying to figure out what it even means.
Exactly. You want to be so caught up in the suspense that you forget you're even reading, like you're right there living it.
Yes. And I feel like with a lot of these books, especially in this genre, the atmosphere is almost like another character,
Totally. Like you can practically feel the tension oozing out of the pages.
Yes. And I'm wondering, with the Housemaid, what is that atmosphere like?
Well, based on those passages you read, it sounds like she nails that feeling of unease. Like that sense that something's not quite right, but you can't put your finger on it.
Right. Like that creepy attic, that's a perfect example. Even just hearing you describe it, I got chills.
It's the little details,
Yeah.
The way she describes things, the way she builds suspense. It's like she's setting a trap and you're walking right into it.
And you don't even care.
Exactly. You're like, take me.
Okay, so let's recap for a second. We've got this intense atmosphere, a super twisty plot, characters who might not be who they seem. What else could you possibly want from a thriller?
Honestly, it sounds like it's got it all.
Right.
Like if you're looking for a book to keep you up all night, this seems like a pretty good bet.
It's like she took all the best parts of our favorite thrillers and mashed them together into something totally new.
And the fact that she has that medical background, it just adds this extra layer of Is this real? Could this actually happen?
It's giving very much like don't trust anyone vibes.
Oh, 100%.
Which I am here for. But okay, we've got to talk about like the biggest mystery of all.
Oh, you mean?
Millie's past.
Right.
We know she was in prison, but like, for what? What landed her there in the first place?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Was it something like completely accidental? Or did she carefully plan it all out?
Oh, that's a good point. Because it could be either way with her, right? Like, is she running from something or towards something?
Exactly. And how does that connect to the Winchesters? Is this job just a coincidence, or is there a more, like, sinister connection we haven't figured out yet?
Right. Like, what if she's out for revenge?
Ooh, see? Now that's an ending I could get behind.
Me too. It's like the possibilities are endless, which honestly is what makes this whole thing so intriguing.
Totally. Freida McFadden, she's given us all these puzzle pieces.
Right.
But it's up to us to put them together.
And I love that because it makes you feel like you're part of the story, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're not just passively reading. You're actively trying to solve the mystery alongside the characters.
Yes. And judging by the reviews, it seems like McFadden is a pro at keeping those theories coming right up until the very end.
Yeah, she's definitely playing mind games with us in the best way possible.
Exactly. The best kind of mind games.
The kind that make you want to stay up all night reading, just so you can finally get some answers.
Oh, 100%. So, okay, real talk for a second. If you're someone who loves a good, twisty thriller, the kind that, like, seeps into your brain and makes you question everything,
The best kind.
this one might be for you.
Definitely added to the TBR pile.
Yes, The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Don't sleep on it, guys.
Pun intended.
Maybe. All right, until next time, happy reading, everyone.
And happy theorizing.
Oh, yes. Don't forget to let us know what you think Millie's deal is, because we need to know.